Stephen, tell me what you found in that was hidden in this bill.
Well, how much time you got, Glenn? This is something like 800 pages, but I don't even kind of know where to start. But the
can we start with this? Did you find on page like 683? We found the EPA is now authorized, has the money and the teeth to create their own ESG framework for farmers. Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. And I'll give you another one that I think is outrageous is that we found that, for example, they have $3 billion for something called environmental justice grants.
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what that is. It's just a payoff to all the liberal special interest groups, all the, the groups that made Joe Biden's. This is graft. This is graft. It's basically paying the people who elected Biden money. So, and that the whole bill is graft. All it does is give money to all the groups that gave Joe Biden money. And I'll give you an example of that. They want to, they have 87,000 new IRS agents, $20 to $30 billion more they're going to spend in doubling the size of the IRS. Do you know the IRS employees have a PAC, Political Action Committee? Do you know where 99% of which party 99% of that money goes to?
Yeah, Democrats.
The Democrats. So let's get this right. The Democrats are getting $40 billion to the IRS to hire 87,000 more agents. Those 87,000 more agents are going to give money to the Political Action Committee of the employees, and the employees are going to then give that. The PAC's going to give the money back to the Democrats who gave the money in the first place. This is like a third world country we're turning into.
I know. It really bothers me as well, Stephen, that they've made it a whole of government action to sign up new voters and register new voters. So every agency is now doing it. And with the flood of money that is coming into these agencies, I don't know what's real and what's not anymore. Yeah. Because we don't, nobody's following it.
So you asked me about some other weird, crazy stuff in this bill. So they wanted to give all this money for the electric battery industry so everybody could go out and buy electric cars. And by the way, if you have a car right now that runs on gasoline, you might want to hold on to that because I'm not making this up. My prediction is within 5 to 10 years, they're going to abolish any new cars that are gas powered.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're going to basically you're going to have choice. You're not going to have any choice. You're going to have to buy an electric vehicle whether you want to or not. And by the way, do you know what percentage of new car sales in the last 3 months were electric vehicles?
No.
What percentage? 5%. So 95% of the cars people want and are buying are not electric vehicles. I don't have anything against electric vehicles, but I don't want the government telling me I have to buy one.
Right. And I also would like to see the plan. I've talked to energy people, and they're like, you put the entire fleet on electricity. We're out. We are talking to Stephen Moore, who has gone through the Inflation Reduction Act, which, can we stop with this? If it's named the, sweet little puppy dogs want to give you a hug act, it's riddled with bad things, okay? Let's go to Stephen Moore, who's been going through this, and you found a few things that maybe we should have paid attention to, or at least read before we signed the bill and voted for it. What'd you find, Stephen?
By the way, let me just confess that I tried to make it through the whole bill. It's something like 800 pages, so I'm not all the way through it. But I want to make a point here. Glenn, seriously, how many members of Congress do you think read this bill?
None.
Zero.
None. Yeah.
I have no idea what's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some way to run a country, isn't it? Where you're taxing and spending $700 billion more money, and none of them have any idea what's in the bill.
I talk to members of Congress and the Senate all the time, and they tell me there are 4 people. There are only 4 people that run the place up there. And it is McCarthy, Pelosi, Schumer, and McConnell. And they get together and they make all of it, and they say, this is what you're doing, and they put it out, and you don't even get a chance to read it.
It's worse than that. Worse than that, Glenn, because the truth is that McCarthy, McConnell, Pelosi, they don't even know what's in this bill. In other words, they didn't write the bill. This was written by some, 24-year-old, graduate of, Wesleyan College, who's a left winger, who puts all this. How do you think this stuff gets in these bills?
Well, I'd like to know which organizations actually did the bulk of work on it, because like the healthcare bill, you remember, I mean, it was not written by anybody actually in the government. When if God forbid they ever pass, regulation on these social media companies, it will all be written by them. It will be.
Yeah. The lobbyists virtually are writing the bills.
Yes.
And that's how bad it is in Washington right now. So you asked me what, some other stuff in here that's outrageous. So this is more kind of humorous. So they had the bill, it's giving all this money for electric batteries and Tesla and, all the electric cars. But the problem is, of course, that guess where those batteries are made?
China.
So then they realized, oops, we have a problem here. This is a big subsidy program to China. So then they said, okay, we're not going to let you get the subsidies if any part of it is made in China. And guess what? Then they found 85% of the cars aren't eligible for that.
Right. I think it was the auto industry that was like, they knew about this. It's weird. The American people didn't know about it, but the auto industry knew about it. And they were like, whoa, you can't do that.
So without China, we can't build these cars. And why? Look, it's lunatic. We have more coal, we have more oil, more gas than any other country in the world. And natural gas, by the way, is reducing pollution levels. And so this bill constricts the amount of energy we can. And don't believe for 1 minute this line that this is going to increase our production of oil, gas, and coal. Do you think any of those permits are ever going to get permitted?
No.
No, zero.
So
the Democrats have already said that.
Could you take that on in any way that relates to this bill, if you can? People actually believe that it's the oil companies that aren't doing it. And we've already talked about ESG and how that funding has dried up for exploration. But the government, is this bill actually opening anything, or is it designed to hurt the oil and gas industry?
Well, just asking the question answers it, right? This is a president. The one promise that he made that he's kept is that, remember when he said in that famous debate against Trump, I mean to close down the oil and gas industry. And that's exactly what he is doing. We have a new study out by my friend Casey Mulligan, who's one of the top economists in the country at University of Chicago. We estimate we'd be producing 3 million more barrels a day if Trump were still president and we had the laws in place that we did then. And think about that. At $100 a barrel, math is pretty easy here, Glenn. $100 times 3 million. That's $300 million a day. A day the country is losing because of these lunatic energy policies. That's over $100 billion a year this is costing us. And I'm sorry, folks, anyone who actually believes for 1 minute that you can run a $23 trillion economy that makes cars and steel and manufactured products and construction products and the technology industries, you're going to run that on windmills? It is
Well,
so preposterous.
Here's the thing. This is so amazing. The reason why we really changed the world and also had that moment in America after the war was because we had three things.
Energy.
We had all of the riches of the earth in here, and we were using them. We had cheap energy, not just energy, but cheap energy.
Yes.
And we had educated, cheaper labor. Well, the unions got rid of the labor. The education got rid of the other half, the brain power of labor. We no longer have cheap energy. In fact, we'll have no energy, and we will not take any mineral out of the ground. You got nothing left.
And by the way, you're exactly right about that. We have more mineral resources. This country was incredibly endowed by God with amazing resources. No other country in the world has
white Christian
resources.
nationalism.
Yeah, it's like there's a $60 trillion treasury chest under this country, and the left is saying, don't dig it up. Don't dig it up.
Yeah.
And that's insanity. And by the way, how are you going to get? I mean, here's the other thing: these people are so stupid, or else they're mendacious. How are you going to get the batteries and all of the solar panels and the wind turbines if you don't have these precious metals?
Flying monkeys.
I mean, really. I mean, my mind is spinning. I want to pull my hair out of the stupidity of these policies. And I'm going to warn people, we are going to have brownouts and blackouts around this country in the next 2 or 3 years if these insane energy policies go forward. No doubt about it in my mind.
I think you're going to see people. I think you're going to see people start to freeze to death in America in possibly this winter, just because they won't be able to afford the energy prices.
Yeah. And by the way, just so people don't think you're exaggerating, did you see the story about what happened in Spain this week?
No. Oh, about 80 degrees?
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to set they want to make it illegal in Spain, because they have a heat wave going on in Europe, to set the temperature of your air conditioner at less than 80 degrees. 80 degrees. And by the way, if we have to save on energy, on electricity, how are we going to power all these electric vehicles?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Stephen. With what we did with Russia, could we have avoided if Trump were still in? And none of this with Russia would have happened if he were in. But if this exact situation was happening, but we kept the same energy policies as Trump had, would Europe be in the trouble that it's in today?
No, but Europe deserves a lot of the blame for themselves. It was Donald Trump, remember, 4 years ago, who waved his finger at. By the way, one of the most overrated people in the last 100 years is Angela Merkel. She destroyed Germany. She was Time Magazine's Person of the Year 5 years ago. Wow. And Germany is a complete mess right now. Wow. And talk about worshiping false gods. And so you're right. I mean, Europe fell into this trap of saying, "Oh, we're going to be dependent. We're going to go with green energy, and then we're going to get our natural gas from Russia." Russia now, just as Trump predicted, the Western Europeans are now dependent on Russia and Putin for energy. We should be exporting our massive amounts of natural gas to Europe. They should be dependent on the United States, not Russia. But that's a decision they made. But now we can't export it because we can't produce it here in America anymore.
I tell you what's really frightening and immoral. Beside all of the out of control government that we have right now, that we're not living our own laws, the Constitution, that the American people are being called terrorists now. Beyond all that, the most immoral thing I have seen our country do since the civil rights era is clamp down on our farmers, tell our farmers not to grow, tell our farmers exactly how they need to farm, take away the fertilizer, which will cut our crop yield about 30%, plus all of the things that we're doing with energy right now. The people that will freeze to death and starve all around the world because the United States is taking this path, all of the people that we could save from death, starvation, heat, cold, all of that. It is immoral. Because we're the ones that always come in and rescue people. The world has no one to rescue them from this. No one.
It is immoral. It is immoral. And to add to that, for our State Department and John Kerry, who's the second dumbest person on the planet, to go around to these third world countries where they don't, they literally don't have, electric power, and the women have to still, go a mile and carry the jugs of water back to the village. Then we go to these little and our State Department is telling us, "Oh, don't build coal plants here. They don't have electric power. They don't have clean water." And they're saying you should be worrying about climate change. I mean, climate change is something people at country clubs in America who make $1 million salaries worry about. People in third world countries who live day to day, in deprivation.
Right.
You want to help people around the world. Let's get them clean water and secure forms of energy. That will move people out of poverty. But we're not doing that.
I'll tell you, Stephen, I think these guys are Malthusian. I mean,
Yeah.
every death that happens reduces what they believe is the surplus population, and helps also, clean the air. We'd be much better off if we didn't have all these people. It's an unspoken thing for most, but there are those who actually speak those words, and it's evil what is happening. It's just evil. Stephen, thank you so much for all your work, and I don't know why we don't have you on more. I really enjoyed talking to you.
More often.
Yeah, good talking to you.
With you. Glad to talk
Thank
to
you.
Take
You
care.
bet. Bye-bye.